Welcome to all new episode of The Introduction. It's your boy Millz. I'm sitting here with a special guest and dear friend of mine, someone who's been, I guess you could say, a springboard I can bounce ideas off of. We chop it up all the time about different brand partnerships, marketing ideas. Without further ado, I want to introduce Sara Hasan. She's a media planner, entrepreneur, and head of brand partnerships at DRTR Agency. So how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you. That was such a nice intro.
Gotta give you a nice intro. It's incredible. What do they call you, Big Sarah too? I seen somebody call you that.
Yeah, Nate gave me that name.
Yeah, Nate's a great guy. So let's start where we first met. It was a few years ago. We were at Sav's. Well, she had like a branding event.
Yeah.
So where were you at in your career at that point in time?
That is hard to say. It was
Like-
a long time ago, but I always have had like 3 jobs at the same time.
Okay.
I think back then I was probably still at Noto, running the marketing for Noto and promoting on the side. I also was managing an artist. I have so many jobs. I can't even think. And I was with DRTR, I think, still at that point.
Yeah, you're always moving and shaking. You've always been someone that not gonna say never sit still, but you always have your hand in something. Which is
I don't sit still.
Yeah, which is a good thing. So let's go to your artist management role that you like kind of started off, kind of got you like into like entertainment, marketing, that type of thing. How'd you enjoy that? Like, what was it like managing artists? Was that your first artist that you managed ever, or?
Yes, that was probably the craziest thing I've ever done to date. Definitely a stressful job. I have a lot of respect for managers. They pretty much have to be selfless. Like you're living your life for your artist. You're with them 24/7, doing everything for them really, and the team. And like, I think I saw maybe Biggs posted this quote the other day, like everyone wants to be a boss until they see who eats last. And I feel like that sums up being a manager. Like you're really doing majority of the work and like making sure everybody else is happy. But like,
no, that's good, because like even navigating this space, like I manage a couple artists, and I can totally attest to that. Like you have to make sure everybody else is good before, even if you're not good, you got to make sure they're good.
And it's a lot of problem solving.
Yeah,
because a lot of the times something's going wrong or it doesn't go as planned, and you have to be really quick on your feet, stay calm, all that.
But definitely, like, being a manager though, do you believe like that helped you gain the experience to be able to excel at your jobs that you're doing now, because you had to have your hand in so many different roles?
For sure, yeah, and just like being able to work under pressure really helps. But it's funny because it wasn't that different from any of my other jobs that I had, because I think anything in music and nightlife is pretty stressful to begin with. So like I kind of always have been doing a bunch of different things at the same time. But that particular role kind of helped me get over, I guess, like my fears of things, you know, like we'd be backstage at a Meek show and my artist would be like, oh, there's Yo Gotti, just like go up to him and introduce me. I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Like, you know, like just like, because I didn't know how to be a manager, like kind of just like learning as I was going. And so, you know, you're like, I don't know what to do. So it's just kind of like learning, like figuring it out.
Yeah.
And just like getting over those fears. Like that's kind of intimidating. Like, what am I supposed to say to Yo Gotti?
Yeah,
but
it's like it's my first time
like,
speaking to him, same time as you.
Yeah.
It's the same
Also,
thing.
I don't remember if it was actually Yo Gotti. I think it was, but
definitely, and also, so you're like a formal education too. You got your degree and things of that nature. Do you feel as though school helped you in this world, or more so like, nah, just being thrown into, like you said, being a manager into this space, it kind of helped you more?
Yeah. So my school in particular helped me because I went to Drexel. I double majored in marketing and entrepreneurship, and we are one of the few schools that has a co-op program. So we actually like work for 6 months instead of going to class. So I did a 5-year program, which had 3 co-ops. So my first co-op, or my second co-op, is actually how I got into the entertainment space. So it was a startup called Booksmart.
Okay.
So Ben Melman, he was the co-founder there. I was always friends with him. And then like when I was applying to jobs, I reached out to him. And it's a tour management app and platform that artists used when they go on tour to streamline the communication process and organize all their information. Started out as like that internship, and I ended up kind of running the company with him for a few years. And then he was also the booking agent for Coda, if you remember Coda.
Yeah, of course.
So then he had me over there as like his booking assistant and like advancing all of the shows and like running day of show. And then from there, I interned at Warner Bros. Records in New York in brand partnerships. So that's like when I first got to look at what brand partnerships was, and like I fell in love with it. It's just like the creative side and the business side merging together.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. And then when I came back to Philly, I was asked to pretty much do the same thing, advance the shows for Noto. So I was doing that for a couple years while promoting on the side. And then I ended up running all of their marketing at Noto.
So you spoke on being like an intern in multiple companies. Like nowadays, you see like on social media, people don't want to take those steps. So they say, "I don't want to work for free," things of that nature. Like, do you think that's a valuable part of?
It's so important, and it's like obviously like understand your value, and at a certain point, it's like now, like no, I'm not going to work for free.
Yeah,
my time is money, but it is so important when you're young to get as much experience as you can, and just know what's worth it or not. Like obviously, if you're working for free and it's, I don't know, like if it's something you really want to do, then it's worth it because you're going to make the connections, you're going to learn so much and get that experience. Like I graduated college with like 4 jobs already on my resume, before I even like had the real job, like, it's just so worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Because even now, like when you're coming out of college, people be like, you need such and such years of experience, and like people are like, how do I do that? Well, internships while you're in college, do that.
Yeah.
And people don't want to do that because they think they're like above whatever role it is, or working for free. So
and like obviously like you need to make money to live, but there's 24 hours in a day. Like I have a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 technically, and then I have my own company that I work for after my other job. So it's like you gotta do what you gotta do. If you want it, you gotta work for it.
Definitely. So you're like in the entrepreneurial space, like we spoke about this whole time. Tell me about like your upbringings, like your family, like a bunch of entrepreneurs. Like what kind of stuff are they into?
So my dad is from Pakistan, so he's an immigrant. My mom's from New York. She was a nurse, and my dad's a doctor. Pretty much everybody in my family is a doctor, except for me. I have 3 brothers, so I was always the only girl, even with all my cousins, like in this country. Always the only girl growing up. So, my dad did try like my whole life to convince me to be a doctor, but then once he saw that wasn't going to happen, like I'm very emotionally intelligent, so I always loved psychology. So when I first was thinking about college, I thought I wanted to get into psychology, and like he almost convinced me to be a doctor, and then I was like, oh, I'll be a psychiatrist or like a neurologist. But I'm just too empathetic. Like I would feel everybody's pains. I would be so depressed if I was a doctor.
Yeah.
Plus, I cut my finger one time and had a panic attack, and
really?
That's when I knew.
That's when I knew. It's the blood for you?
I don't know. It wasn't for me. But my dad saw, like, from a young age, I was, like, we would go to Pakistan, and I'd bring back these, like, hair clips that were, like, bedazzled and, like, random stuff, and I would, like, try to sell it, like, to my friends or at school.
Young hustler.
Yeah, I was. I was always, like, doing random stuff like that. And then in high school, I actually started 2 of my own businesses. I used to, like, do makeup. Okay. So I started a little makeup company, and then random enough a cupcake company.
Cupcakes? How did you get into cupcakes?
I just always loved cupcakes, but it was like a trend for a while. It was like, I don't know, cupcakes were a thing at one point, and
cupcakes were a thing.
I just wanted to do it. So he always saw, like that I had this in me, and then he pushed me to major in business, because at that point, like I don't even think I knew what an entrepreneur was when I was young, but yeah, then.
So tell me what it's like being the only girl, because you said you're the only girl. Your brothers, was it like you always had to prove yourself? They always like you guys fighting with each other? Like what was
Nobody
that like?
listens to me. Like everything, it's just I had to like fight for everything, like literally fight for my freedom, because like my parents were so overprotective. Anything that I wasn't allowed to do, like pretty much my brothers could do whatever they want.
Wow.
Had to be loud to be heard.
So going through that growing up, how that it probably like shows like in the workforce entertainment industry now, because like you said, there's not that many women.
I was the only woman, or the only like one of 2, but really like almost the only woman at every job that I've had. Yeah. Before Vayner.
So how was it like navigating that space? Is it like similar to as it was coming up for you, or is it like more difficult?
It was a little difficult because I never had like any female friends that were in the industry before I met Savannah. So I had no one to teach me, but I'm just so lucky. Like I'm so lucky that the men that I did work with always like encouraged me to be great and pushed me and treated me well. So I got lucky with the people that I worked with.
And to say there's like a young girl coming up after you that wants to kind of like follow in the footsteps that you're going into. Like what advice would you give her when she's trying to start out or trying to like push and make a name for herself and get to one of those high positions?
You just gotta just keep going. Like, don't let anyone get to you, you know? Like, I like people like just use it as motivation, you know what I mean? Like things that would like make me mad, I would just use that to fuel me. Like at Noto, they would like literally make bets, like be like, oh, Sarah's not gonna sell this many tickets.
Really?
Like, haha. That, oh my god, that like lit a freaking
I
fire.
bet,
I was
I
like,
bet.
yeah, I'm not gonna do it. Watch me
Yeah.
do it. Just yeah, always like having to prove yourself, but like just staying strong and like not letting anybody fuck with you.
Yeah, of course, because
Yeah.
that's a big thing. Like you get into different positions, you have guys mainly, because like, and they'll think they're better than you or whatever it may be, and it's like you said, they'll make bets. Oh, such and such can't do this.
Yeah.
She's not as qualified as me or whatever it is. But then I'm starting to see like a big surge in women in like these industries, like showing guys like, nah, we're just as capable as you. We can do the same thing as you, if not better. And how does that make you feel? Like you said, you have Savannah, that's a good friend in the same industry, and you see other people as well. How does it feel to know that there's other women doing the same thing as you and excelling at the same level?
Yeah, it's comforting and it's great to see. There should be more women. We're better at everything. So.
Tell me a little bit about the agency, DRTR Agency. Tell me a little bit what you guys do and what you guys have planned like for the future.
Yeah, so DRTR Agency stands for Dreams Realer Than Reality. Pretty much full service marketing agency, but we also do so much more than just marketing, because like between Daryl and I and the whole team, we have so much experience doing a bunch of different stuff. Like, so we also like have experience booking artists, running shows, curating events, as well as marketing for artists and influencers. I chose to focus mainly on brand partnerships for our talent. But yeah, his company, Daryl Pratt, he started it actually, and then we met through a mutual friend.
Okay.
Well, actually, he has a different marketing company. He has like 5 companies, and then he met me, and we talked about doing the whole influencer marketing thing. And he actually told me he only started DRTR because of me, because he was gonna originally have it under his other company, Greenwood Ops. And then he kind of saw I just like ran the shit up. I was going hard. I was doing everything, organizing everything on the back end, like really like helping build the company. So he's like, all right, this needs to be a separate entity.
So how important do you think like influencer marketing is to not just like music, but to anything in general?
I think it's super important. Like me personally, I buy products based off of word of mouth, like recommendations from my friends. Like that's kind of how we all learn about stuff that we like. So I think it definitely has value, and especially during COVID when like companies, they are not able to, when everything was shut down, like production was shut down, like they couldn't gather their own content or travel to do so. So UGC content is super important.
So
for brands.
When it comes to like the influencers that you guys have on your roster, are they ones that are like already established? You guys go out and find people that maybe have like engaging content and help build them up, or like how do you guys go about picking who you work with?
So it ranges. We have micro influencers and we have bigger influencers, and then we have upcoming artists and we have super established artists. But also another funny thing that Daryl and I talk about is that like almost so like 90% of our roster is all personal friends of mine.
Oh,
like
really?
I actually know every single one of those
That's
people. Like whether I went to school with them or they're friends of a friend or I met them out. And that's like the importance of networking. Like that. It's so important to just network. Like that's literally the most important thing. Everything is based off of relationships and like keeping in touch with people, maintaining those relationships. And then, so like we have a lot of opportunities because we're like master networkers.
Yeah. And speaking on like relationships and networking, like I have had conversations with a bunch of people about like how a lot of people try to reach out to people they don't know that are maybe already established instead of like working with people that are maybe at the same level as them and trying to climb. Because like you said, you never know who's going to be who, like a year from now, 6 months from now. So like how do you normally do that? It's just like you said, you have your relationships. Daryl has his relationships. It's just like you go to events and you connect with people, or is it just?
I would be at every event. Like now I'm not as pressed because, I have like more of an established career. But before, like I was in beast mode. I was like, I'm trying to get a job. I have to be everywhere all the time. And it's like, it was hard. Like, cause even, sometimes my friends wouldn't understand, they'd want to like hang out with me and I'm like, oh, I have to go to this little baby event. And like, they're like, why do you care? I'm like, I don't care about this event. Actually, I just like I need to go because this person's going to be there and I need to meet them because then they can connect me to this. And one thing leads to another. But really just going to lots of events and working at Noto really helped me with that. I met almost everybody through Noto.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I worked during the day, like 9 to 5 essentially, like from home. So like I didn't have to ever physically be in that club. Like I don't work at night. Like I don't work at the club. So but I was still there almost every weekend, like, or for every big show, because I knew it would be important to meet those people. Like, so, like, for example, I think it was Pusha T for when we had Pusha T. I had Nate open for that show, but I was on stage when he was performing, and then it's just like you have to be slick. Like, you know, okay, he's performing, so then all these people that are right next to him are his team.
Exactly.
And like you'll learn, like, it's not, the artist isn't the most important person. They're actually the least important person. You need to make friends with the photographer, the security, the manager, obviously, but like all these other people will like lead you to the manager or like the person you need to be in contact with. So like I was with my girls, they're like at the table, like the guys are talking to them, but like I'm not in that mode. Like I'm not trying to talk to nobody. Like I'm not here to have fun. I'm like scoping. I'm like trying to figure out who's who. And I'm like, and then I like saw Wayno, who I actually like. It's embarrassing, but I didn't know who he was before I saw him. Yeah. Like I didn't know who he was, but I like could tell that I should be talking to him. You just like figure it out. You can just tell. And then I was just like, oh, like what do you do? And then that was actually right before he announced that he was going to be the VP of Warner Music. So a VP of A&R. So I was like, oh shit, this is someone I need to talk to. Okay, well, and then like always having your 30-second pitch ready. I was like, okay, well, I do this. I have a company. We work with artists and influencers, like blah, blah, blah. It's just telling him how we can help. And then I got the contact and that was it. It's like, that's how I meet people. It's just like every time I'm out, it's like funny with like this industry. It's like going out and having fun is always also networking because like the type of people that are going to be around.
You have to have, like you said, you have to have like not your spiel but your 30-second pitch to let people know
always,
what you do, because that could make or break you at that moment in time. And a lot of people don't realize that, like, even just knowing your stuff, like the more you know yourself, more being in it and being out there, putting yourself out there.
And also just like, especially as a woman, and it's hard, and we shouldn't have to be this way, but just like acting a certain way to be able to be taken seriously, like it sucks. Yeah. And I'm not saying we should have to do that, but like I chose to be very like, even when I'm out, like you're not going to see me twerking on the wall, like or like being like talking to all the guys. Like I purposely like act a certain way because I know who I'm around and I want it to be taken seriously.
So yeah, like when you go out, because obviously you go out sometimes to have fun, sometimes to do business. How do you like differentiate the two?
It's just who I'm around. Like if I know I'm somewhere where like no one knows who I am, or like there's no one in the industry around, I'll just like I'm just myself and I can have fun. But if I'm at Noto, I'm not acting crazy, you know, because I know the people that are there, you know, or like I worked with these people, like, and they're not going to take me seriously if they see me wilding out. Yeah, you know,
definitely. And then another question I want to ask you, because like in this industry and the things that we do as well, it's kind of hard to shut work off because you always have a phone call, whether it's like a plan, you're on a project, whatever it may be. So like, how do you kind of like find time for yourself to be like, all right, this is my downtime. I don't want to answer calls. I don't want to answer emails. Do you like set it out in your schedule, or is it just comes when it comes?
I was always so bad at that. Like this is the first year I really have been like letting myself let go, because I always just have this guilt, like, because, you know, when you have your own company and you're an entrepreneur, there's always something you could be doing. Like it's never like, oh, I got all these things done, I'm done. Like a 9 to 5, you clock out. Like, no, there's literally always something you could be doing. And then I just would always make myself feel guilty and have anxiety if I was taking a break. So then I wouldn't take breaks because like they're actually more stressful than relaxing. Yeah. But now it's like it helps to just, I guess, like have like weekly like goals, and like I'm gonna get this done this week, and then like when you get it done, okay, now I can feel good about myself. All the other stuff I'll do next week. Don't have to make myself go crazy. But yeah, I didn't start until like literally this year, not feeling guilty for taking vacations and relaxing. Yeah. But that's also like being part of a team. It's like, okay, if I'm gone, this person will handle it, so it'll be okay. Like the train doesn't stop just because I'm taking a break, you know?
And especially like when you're building something, like you said, your agency, like you guys have, I've been paying attention. Obviously, like
Mhm.
you guys have grown a lot since like when you first started. I remember when you told me
Mhm.
like you guys are doing the agency thing now. How many people do you have in your roster? Like over like 20 probably on your
We have
roster.
like 100
Yeah,
maybe.
so bigger number than I thought. So you guys are big as hell now,
Yeah.
and like managing all that and kind of probably keeping people up to speed probably is like a headache at times. So like finding that time, I think is good for you. And
Oh my God, yeah.
it's glad it relieves stress. You know what I'm saying? So, but speaking of the agency, what else do you guys have planned in the future now that you guys are at the stage you're at, and you guys have done a lot of big partnerships, like I said, Lyft and probably Puma, things of
Mhm.
that nature. What's in store for the agency in the future?
Just continuing, keeping our foot on the gas. Like we're not stopping. We would just want to work with more brands.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it was hard because it was just at first it was just me and Daryl. Now we have a couple more people on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and we both like Daryl has like 5 other jobs. I have another job, a 9 to 6, and I'm like obviously so tired after.
Yeah.
It's like things only move as fast as we move, right?
Yeah.
And then, like what we have time for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we can't work with 1,000 brands right now because like we don't have the like capacity to
Exactly.
like do that.
Mm-hmm.
So just adding more brands to our roster, just growing. But now that things are opening up, definitely getting back into events. We had a huge event planned for last year that got canceled.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna have it this year or what?
yeah, so
Yeah.
we're trying to figure it out. We wanted to. Well, I don't want to ruin anything. But
Yeah, you don't gotta ruin it. But we'll stay posted. We'll stay
Yeah,
posted.
yeah.
We'll be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, definitely events.
Tell me what it's like working at Vayner Media, one of like the biggest like media agencies in the world. Obviously, because Garyvee is a big face, and yeah, like learn what have you learned from there? Do you enjoy working there? So what's the experience
God.
like?
I have only been used to toxic work environments, and when I came to Vayner, I felt like an abused child, like so impressed by everything because like I've literally been in like just such stressful, crazy environments with crazy people. But Vayner is like the first time, and I didn't even know it was possible to like work for the nicest people ever. Like I love my team. I'm so close with them. Like 90% of why I love my job in Vayner is because of the people there. And I just like feel like I got so lucky being there. And like what Gary preaches online, like it really is like that. Like it's a company that really cares about their employees and their happiness because he knows like if you're happy, you're obviously going to be doing your best work.
Exactly.
So it just makes sense. But yeah, it's cool. It's also surreal sometimes, like when people like ask me that, like I kind of not that I forget, but like I kind of. But yeah, no, I've learned so much because I actually I didn't even know what a media planner really was before I got the job.
Yeah.
So I'm learning a lot. Yeah.
So what, like media planner, what does that entail? You just handle like the day to day, or what is that?
Well, my position right now, yeah, I handle the day to day for my brands, contact between the agencies and the client. Like gathering everything we need for the campaigns that we're launching, but media planners. So like we have their whole marketing budget, their paid media budget, and then we plan like how they're gonna allocate that budget, what platforms we're gonna run ads on. Right now we're in the middle of 2022 planning, so we're in busy season right now.
That's good. That's good. So obviously, like these jobs and positions aren't where you're gonna necessarily be in the future, like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Where's Sara Hasan gonna be? You think in 10, 15 years, or what's your like dream for yourself or goal for yourself? Like dream job, I guess you could say.
I'm gonna be running shit.
Running shit.
No, yeah, I definitely. The end goal is to work for myself.
Okay.
And yeah, be a CEO. And hoping DRTR will take off. But for now, like I am really happy at Vayner, and I do want to move around within the company for over the next few years.
Well, that's good. Like I'm excited to see where you go, and I appreciate you coming on air to chop it up with us and just give some insight to the community. Give everybody your socials so they can follow you, your agency's socials, so we can figure out where you're at, what you guys got going on.
So it's at DRTR Agency, and mine is just my name, Sara Hasan, SaraHasan.
Appreciate you having me. That's it for another episode of The Introduction. You guys can follow us on all platforms at NBT_the1%, on Twitter, NBT The Future, and don't forget to click that big red subscribe button on Twitter and follow us at NBT The Future for all our video content. It's Millz. I'm signing off. Peace.